Welcome back, everybody, to a new video. I'm recording this in the hopes that the wind will not entirely obliterate the audio. So here goes. Just finished a 7K run, locked in. Wearing the old school Benzo, don't stare, just watch Tank Top Special Edition. Also, before I get started, I had a few people ask me about my workouts, so at the end of the video I pasted in some clips of today's back workout. So if you want to skip the video and just see me work out, you can go to the end of the video. Anywho, as some of you already know, I am exactly 7 days out from getting facial surgery. So finally gonna get this thing taken care of. You guys have been with me every step of the way. It's been about 4 months now of me walking around like this. By the grace of God, or by the grace of the gods, I've been fortunate enough to not develop an infection, and to basically I've been able to keep my life going within reason. But needless to say, I'm just so incredibly excited that the moment is finally here. This is what I've been waiting on, and next week, Wednesday, could not come soon enough. In general, being back in Belgium has unlocked a wide array of different emotions, and I just wanted to discuss some of those. I also been really taking this time to sober up. And when I say sober up, you guys know I'm not talking about alcohol. The booze is not one of my vices, not even close. But the weed is, unfortunately. And the last 2 months in Mexico, I was not feeling good, I was not feeling happy, I was not in my element, and as anyone with a crutch to lean on, I ran into the weed. And I was basically smoking daily. Because I wasn't feeling good, so I was suppressing all of those emotions. So now, I am 9 days in to not smoking. Which, granted, it's still early, but, oh boy. This whole new Pandora's box of suppressed emotions have been coming out. I've been having these crazy dreams, and on numerous different mornings, including this one, I've been waking up in tears. Like, I just had like these super emotional crazy dreams, and I wake up with tears running down my eyes, and I'm so grateful that it was just a dream. Now that may sound like it's a negative experience, or like a I don't want to say traumatizing, but maybe like a painful experience. But really, it just feels like my brain, but more importantly my heart, is cleansing itself. I feel more alive than ever, and to revert to one of the most cringy cliches, I feel high on life. I just feel everything so much harder now. Now, this is not the first time I quit weed cold turkey, so I do know how it goes. This is always the case in the beginning. You get high on life, everything hits harder, you're more sensitive, you're also more irritable, you're quicker to get angry, to get upset. But I like that feeling. I like that feeling of being very intense, very productive. Training is on point, the job is on point, coaching my clients is on point, doing my live is on point, doing my cardio is on point. That's another thing I've been taking full advantage of. Just access to this. Access to nature, access to clean air, being back in my Viking habitat. Oh my God, I can't tell you how much I've been enjoying just running in nature, which is something that you're just not able to do in Mexico City, because it just doesn't exist which continues to be a very strong contradiction, a very strong paradox in terms of who I am, what I value, and then me living in this matrix mass city of 24 million people. Like, what am I doing there, right? And we're early, like, it's still very much the honeymoon, oh my god, the honeymoon phase. But right now, like, yeah, it would be an understatement to claim that I'm not missing Mexico City. The plan is to go back mid-August, barring everything goes well with the surgery. And so that's still like 6 weeks from now. But already I'm like, that's too soon. Like, I need more time. But let's see. Let's not overreact. And let's see how I feel after another 6 weeks of, like, countryside, slow life. But to be entirely honest, I do feel like there's a little voice inside of me that's been kind of creeping up. And guys, this is not me already having made a decision to trying to pour it into content and putting breadcrumbs. Like, this is coming straight from the heart, and this is like how I feel today. 0 decisions have been made, and if you ask me right now, I am like 99% sure I'm still spending the next year and a half in Mexico City. But I just want to, like, get these emotions and thoughts and voices inside my head on record, that for the first time since embarking on my journey to working a job in Mexico City, I am thinking about, like, I'm not even thinking about anything. It's like I could potentially see it ending, which is kind of a crazy and a wild thing to say if you take into account that about maybe 8 months ago, I was like, who knows? I might just end up staying in Mexico City for the rest of my life. Like, that's kind of a big shit, right? So, but, like, the way I'm feeling right now is, I'm gonna give it at least another year, so until next summer. But I do need things to get better, because the last 2 months, things have just not been good. Like, I'm frustrated with the high turnover rate of people coming and going in Mexico City, which is a byproduct of me being an expat and moving in expat circles and living in a co-living house with a bunch of expats. I get that. But in my defense, I've also made a ton of Mexican friends, and that's something I want to talk about in this video. 2 things. First of all, the way friendships work, it's like you need a year to really get to know someone, and then you finally start, like, going a little bit deeper and really getting, like, you're no longer on your best behavior, you're more relaxed, and before you know it, at least in my case, people get offended and hurt and upset and feel slighted or disrespected over nothing, and then poof, you lose a bunch of friends. And what I've really found in Mexico, it's a very, like, I'm having trouble articulating this concept, so I'm gonna need you to bear with me and read between the lines. But in a lot of ways, the social structure, the way social life dynamics are set up in terms of how people act in Mexico, and this is gonna sound bad, but fuck it, it's kind of, the keywords I would use to describe it, it's kind of childish, it's kind of high schoolish, it's very gossipy, it's very drama driven, and it's very, like, there's a lot of passive aggression there's a lot of pettiness. Um, and and who am I to judge, you know, like, whatever, like, I get it, and you can give me shit for it and be like, you know, shut up, white Belgian man, with your critique of Mexican social life, but this is my reality, and I'm gonna share it, you know, like, and as you guys know, like, I don't really care if people disagree or get offended, like, I can speak my truth. So, what I mean when I say it's very high schoolish, it's very like people in Mexico are kind of obsessed with, look at this mini tractor in the back. Isn't that the cutest thing? Or that. My people, man. If you're hot, and I don't mean physically hot, I mean like if you're a hot commodity, like if you're popular, you're gonna find that people in Mexico are drawn to you, and the world travels quick. Like, I used to throw these parties, my birthday parties. I had a few, also some Halloween parties, and I would have literally 70 people up on my terrace, and it was just like, I knew what it was like to be the guy, the man, to be, you know, like, people were pulling at me to have like a minute with me and to take a picture with me and stuff like that. And when you're in that position socially, you can really do no wrong, and you're also invited to everything. But then at the same time, people, they love you and they want to include you. But at the same time, just like in high school, they're also kind of, I don't want to say preying on your downfall, but they're quick to punish you should something happen that were to put them in a position where they can punish you, or like, you know. And so, for example, in the last year, and devil's advocate, like, you can also say maybe I'm just an asshole and they've been getting to know me better and I'm trying to blame them when really it's me. Could be, right? Like, I'm probably not objective talking about myself, but I have noticed that in the last year I have lost a bunch of Mexican friends. And it's not that I had a bunch of different conflicts. It's really, I had about maybe 2 conflicts, and I'll get into detail on what happened, and I'll let you guys judge. But I had like 2 or 3 conflicts that soured a relationship, that messed something up, and then that person was upset at me, angry at me, which you don't know when that happens because they don't say it. Then no one communicates. They just like disappear and give you the silent treatment, and there's no communication, which is like very immature and like very like a cowardice way, in my opinion, of dealing with things. But then, if that person is in a certain group, the group will pick a side. Like, that's not something that would necessarily happen in Belgium. Like, people are allowed to have their individual conflicts, but then the group will be like, hey, we're neutral. In Mexico, ain't none of that. It is high school. They're picking a side. And of course, like, if it's between the newly found Belgian expat that might not even stick around for us as far as they know, and if it's between me and their good friend that they've known for like 10 years, like, who do you think is going to get cut out? And so that's something that happened to me, where I have a conflict with a friend, and then all of a sudden, boom, I literally lose 10 friends. Like, I'm not kidding, 10, like the whole group. I get no invites. I'm no longer invited to the camping trips. I'm no longer invited, you know, to go out to the birthday parties. Like, they all just quietly disappear. And that's happened with like 2 or 3 people. And I don't know, it left me feeling like I kind of had to start all over again, which is very frustrating. Do you hear that? It sounds like I'm gonna get caught in some and some thunder. I hope not. And this is like, I'm giving you guys like a super vague description, so I should be fair and paint a picture of a real conflict that happened. And if you, because I know some of you always say, I always want to be right, and I always I'm very stubborn. Like, if you tell me I was wrong in this situation, you're not gonna hear me disagree or fight or whatever. I could see that. So long story short, it's one of my parties. I'm hosting, and me hosting basically is usually me going around, cracking jokes, shaking hands, giving kisses, shaking hands and kissing babies, right? And I just being being fun, being playful. And so at some point, I am introducing some friends to some other friends. And these other friends, two Mexican people, awesome people. Sad to say, they were some of my favorite people. It was a guy and a girl. We were all hanging out plenty of times before that. We used to smoke together. At the time, the girl had just broken up with her long-lasting boyfriend, and the guy was just single, and it was me. I mean, we were just homies, hanging out, smoking weed, having a good time. And then at some point, him and her became romantically involved, and they started dating, and they became girlfriend and boyfriend. All right, cool. So I'm drinking, I'm tipsy, doing my thing, introducing people, and at some point I introduce the now couple to my other friends. I go, this is X, this is Y, and then I go, and disclaimer, it's a bit of a douchey joke, I get it, but it's not one that in Belgium would be considered to be crazy, So I go, I'm like, yeah, they're a couple. Now, she was supposed to be my girl, but he beat me to it, and I think I said he beat me to it, or he stole her from me, something like that. I'm not even sure. I don't think I said he stole her from me, but let's even say I did. The joke was basically in my mind, I was bigging up his girl, bro, I'm envious that that's your girl. I wish that was my girl. But that's my way of telling you, well fucking done. Great, good job, But again, I get it, can definitely be taken as douchey, or I don't know. In my mind, I was giving an account. If you were to do that to me, on everything, 10 toes down, I promise you, if I'm with my girl, you say something about, I wish that was my girl, I'm cheesing ear to ear, I'm smiling. I'm like, hell yeah. Why would I be upset at that? I don't know. She's mine. So, and the whole thing is let's hypothetically say that comment would somehow make her decide to leave me and be with the person that made that comment. Then you did me a favor. She wasn't never gonna stay with me to begin with. What? I don't know. So anyway, boom, 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 all good in the moment. And I tend to be good at, picking up on social cues. Nothing was wrong. It was all good. So I went on to enjoy my party. I got lit, got drunk, had a great time. Boom. Now fast forward, like maybe a week later, or even 2 weeks later, I try to hit up my buddy, the one that came with his girl. I'm trying to like see if he wants to hang out. He's not responding, he's not hitting me back. Cool, like people are busy, like I'm not thinking anything of it. So another week goes by, still no answer. And then, long story short, it's not that I got the wind. I finally made it out the noise of Mexico City. Now I got to deal with the noise of Belgium, bitch ass dogs. So long story short, I end up running into a mutual friend. I inquire like, hey, have you heard from him? She goes, yeah, you know, like he's super angry at you. So I'm not gonna, you know, like I'm gonna spare you the details. But she basically ends up saying that, telling me that he's super upset and like angry at me and like he hates me now and all this stuff. I'm like, what the fuck? So immediately I send a 6-minute voice note to him to profoundly apologize. Like, bro, like I'm so sorry. I had no idea you took it like that. It certainly was not intended like that. You know I love you. Like, you know I have the utmost respect for you guys. Fun fact, guys. This right here. You see that? These trees? So, it even has a plaque. So, you're gonna love this. So when I was like 8 or 9 years old in elementary, me and my classmates, this was like an empty lot, and we planted all these trees. We each planted a tree for some project, and so this is the forest now. So this forest grew up with me. Let's see. This is so dope. Look. This forest was planted by the students of the Dessel schools to honor the National Tree Planting Day of March 20th, 1995. Yeah, that's dope. That's me! That's my forest, baby. Oh, so good to be home. I didn't even know there was a plaque. It's literally starting to rain right now, so we're gonna get wet. Look how dry the river is. Global warming, baby. We've been in a heat wave, guys. We've been in a heat wave for like 10 days now. 37 degrees in Belgium. Wild. Anywho, I apologize profoundly. I'm like, I would never say that knowing you would take it like that. I'm so sorry. Like, and yeah, long story short, he just never got back to me. He ghosted me, cut me off. No second chances, no conversation, no nuance, no nothing. It does tie into the fact how Mexican culture is set up in terms of like men being extremely sensitive and proud, and I guess it's not a thing that you're able or allowed to say or joke about in Latin America. I don't know, man. A lot of jealousy, a lot of intrigue, a lot of insecurity, honestly. A lot of, I don't know, just like, to me, toxic behavior. But so I ended up losing him, losing her, and literally losing like another 10 friends because of that. So that's like one example, so feel free to let me know if I cross the line. But yeah, that's really the story. Alright. I want to say one more thing, not related to the story. It's been nice. The last time I was here, last summer I was here, I was nurturing the long distance relationship I had at that point with my ex, the one that I'm still kind of like, you know, the one that I mentioned in my 5 biggest regrets video like last week. Like the one real regret I have, honestly. with 5 horse no's, not 5 regrets. So she was the only real regret. Like, she still haunts me. She's the one that got away, the one that, you know, to this day, it still hurts me. So I was doing, like, I met her a few weeks before I did my summer trip to Belgium, and so I would wake up, because of the time difference, 8-hour difference, I would wake up every morning, and I just remembered, like, every morning being kind of anxious, turning on my phone, turning off flight mode, and catching up on the messages or videos or audio she had sent me. And this morning I woke up, it was the first morning I got some real quality sleep because of the jet lag, like 8-9 days in. That's when I usually finally get over the jet lag. I'm a sensitive fucker when it comes to that. And I just laid there in bed, I woke up, felt fully rested, and I just realized, like, wow, this is the, like, I don't gotta rush to check my phone, and this is really the first time. This'll be it. This is really the first time that, like, I don't know, it's so nice to wake up in peace, in calm, without anxiety, without this, like, ooh. So I don't know. I guess I say all that to say, fuck long distance relationships, man. Not doing that again. It's just horrible. And at this point in my life, being 37, it's just not something I'm willing to do again. I guess until that special person comes around, and then you do it again. But I don't know. Just a thought that I had this morning. I'm a lot more present this summer than last summer. Last summer, I was just filled with angst. I was filled with nervousness over the fear of losing her, losing that relationship. And then lo and behold, I ended up losing it 6 days before going back. It's like, imagine having, like, the biggest fear in your mind for 3.5 months, and you do everything you can to not let that fear come to reality, and then of course it happens. So it felt inevitable, and it felt like, I remember when it happened, I had a real panic attack, because it was like always in the back of my mind, and then it happened, you know. Does that make sense? When you're, like, expecting something bad to happen, but it looks like it's not going to happen because you're doing everything you can not to make it happen, but then it happens anyway, and you're just like, all that pent up fear and anxiety and nervousness all comes out at once because it's been building, and it's just like, it breaks your heart. It literally feels like the earth opens up and swallows you whole. Like you're literally just, like, your knees get weak, and you don't know how you're gonna live. I know this sounds dramatic, but that's how it felt, and it was a cataclysmic event that day from my world. And we're a year later now, and the shockwaves of that impact are still kind of, like, resonating. So yeah, anywho, that's it for today. Here are some clips from my back training this morning. Once again, thank you for watching, man. I appreciate all of you. Please hit the like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and I'll be back real soon. Gonna get wet. 7 days till surgery. Let's go!
Van de stelplaatsen in Dilbeke, Anderlecht, Leerbeke en Neerbeke heeft het personeel het werk neergelegd. Sommige chauffeurs rijden wel nog uit. Als je in de regio een bus moet nemen, check je best de website op de app van de lijn voor je vertrekt. En als je vandaag naar op werk gaat met de auto, dan moet je toch rekening houden met een sterke vertraging hier op de E114 in Tieltwingen, over zo'n 6 kilometer. rechtdek kan omhoog door de hitte. Je mag dus niet
Yep.
dus houd het best wat rekening met het plaatsverkeerscentrum. Er komt stilaan meer wolken vanuit het westen en er stroomt dan wat frissere lucht binnen. In het westen haalt het maximaal tot 29 graden. In het oosten blijft het langer warm tot plaatselijk nog 38 graden. Deze nacht dan overal buien die ongunstig kunnen zijn. Morgen dan is het
Yes. Ready, set. Oh yeah. Yep. Ooh. Come on. Yep.